The giant ships hung in the sky like dark clouds that would never move. Admiral Lee Dongsu stood on the balcony of the Seoul Command Center, watching the massive alien vessels cast shadows over his city. The Vialtharan ships were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Each one could hold 1 million people, and there were 50 of them floating above Earth's major cities. Lee pulled his coat tighter against the cold wind. He was 60 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes, but his back was still straight. He had been a soldier for 40 years, and he knew what defeat looked like. This was not it. His phone buzzed. "Admiral, they're calling again," said Captain Park Ji-won's voice. She was young, only 32, but she had the sharpest mind in the fleet. "The alien commander wants to speak with all Earth leaders in 1 hour. Tell them we'll be there," Lee said. He looked up at the alien ships one more time. "And Ji-won, make sure our friends in the belt get the message." "Yes, sir. The miners are ready," Lee smiled. The aliens thought those were just mining ships out there in the asteroid belt. They had no idea what humans could do when they had 50 years to prepare. An hour later, Lee sat in the United Nations building with leaders from every nation on Earth. The room was dark except for the blue glow from the alien communication device. When it activated, a huge face appeared in the air above them. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. "I am Supreme Commander Vexthal of the Veltharan Empire," the alien said. Its voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Your planet has been chosen for integration into our empire. You will surrender all military forces and accept our rule." President Chen of the Pacific Union spoke first. "What if we refuse?" The alien's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Then we will destroy your cities from orbit. Your species will serve us as slaves, or you will die. There is no third choice." "How long do we have to decide?" asked Prime Minister Okafor of the African Federation. 72 hours, Vexthal said. "After that, we begin the bombardment. Do not think of resistance. We have conquered 47 worlds. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our ships." The communication ended, leaving the human leaders in silence. Finally, President Chen spoke. "We need to discuss this privately." When they were alone, the real meeting began. Lee activated a special device that would block any alien listening equipment. "Report," he said. Dr. Kim Hye-jin, Earth's top scientist, opened her tablet. "We've been studying the alien technology from the crashed scout ship in Antarctica. Their shields are strong, but they have a weakness. If we can hit them with the right frequency, we can break through." "What about their weapons?" asked General Choi Min-ho, who ran Earth's secret resistance network. "Powerful but slow to charge," Kim said. "Their ships are built to scare people, not to fight fast enemies." Lee nodded. "How are our preparations?" "The Ghost Fleet is ready," said engineer Nam Tae-wook, speaking from a secure bunker in Switzerland. 300 ships hidden in the outer system. The aliens think they're looking at mining equipment and communication satellites. Personnel. "All crews are in position," said Commander Bae Soo-jin from her ship near Jupiter. "We've been running silent for 6 months. They have no idea we exist." President Chen leaned forward. "Can we really do this? Can we actually fight these things?" Lee looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leaders. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. All of them looked determined. 50 years ago, we detected the first alien probe," he said. "We knew they were coming. While they conquered other worlds, we prepared. We built ships they couldn't see. We developed weapons they didn't expect. We trained soldiers they've never heard of." He stood up and walked to the window. The alien ships still hung in the sky, but now they looked different to him. They looked like targets. "The Veltharans think we're just another weak species," he continued. "They think we'll surrender like all the others. They're wrong." "But what about the bombardment threat?" asked Prime Minister Okafor. "We need those 72 hours, said General Choi. "My teams need time to get into position. The fleet needs time to move into the attack formation." Dr. Kim nodded. And I need time to finish the frequency weapon. 48 more hours and we can break their shields. Lee turned back to his colleagues. Then we give them what they expect. We'll stage the surrender ceremony. We'll make them think they've won. And while they're celebrating, we'll show them what humans do to bullies. The meeting ended with each leader knowing their role. They would return to their countries and announce Earth's surrender. They would bow their heads and sign papers. They would let the aliens think they had won. But in the darkness of space beyond where alien sensors could reach, Captain Park Ji-won was aboard the flagship Taeguk, running final checks on systems the enemy had never seen. Lieutenant Yoon Sora was in her stealth fighter, invisible to alien detection. Sergeant Kang Yoon-ji was with her Special Forces team, already inside the alien perimeter. As Lee walked back to his car, his phone buzzed with a message from the outer system. Ghost Fleet reports ready. All ships dark and waiting for orders. The miners send their regards. Lee smiled as he typed back. Tell them the boss appreciates their hard work. Time to show these aliens what Earth really looks like when it's angry. Above him, the alien ships continued to float in the sky. Their crews celebrated, thinking they had won another easy victory. They had no idea that they had just flown into the biggest trap in human history. In exactly 71 hours and 37 minutes, they would find out what happened when someone threatened Earth. They would learn why humans had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and everything else the universe had thrown at them. They would discover that the most dangerous thing in the galaxy was a human who had time to prepare. Captain Park Ji-won floated in zero gravity inside the stealth corvette Hanbit, watching the alien fleet through her ship's sensors. The vessel was completely invisible to enemy detection, its hull covered in technology that bent light and absorbed radar waves. To the Veiltharans, this part of space was empty. Distance to target, she whispered into her headset. 2,000 kilometers in closing, replied her pilot, Lieutenant Commander Shin Dong-wook. His hands moved smoothly over the controls, keeping their approach steady and silent. Through the view screen, Ji-won could see the massive Veiltharan command ship. It was 3 kilometers long, covered in weapon ports and shield generators. But she wasn't looking at its weapons. She was counting its weaknesses. There, she said, pointing at a section near the ship's middle. See those heat vents? They're not protected by the main shields. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Moon Hae-won, made notes on her tablet. Confirmed. Thermal exhaust ports, no. Defensive coverage. Perfect target for our plasma torpedoes. The handbit drifted closer, recording everything. The aliens had no idea they were being watched. Their ships moved in predictable patterns, their crews relaxed and confident. They thought Earth was already defeated. On the planet below, the deception was working perfectly. World leaders had appeared on television, announcing Earth's surrender with sad faces and shaking voices. The alien commander had been pleased, praising human wisdom in accepting the inevitable. But while cameras showed weeping crowds and lowered flags, something else was happening in the shadows. General Choi Min-ho's resistance fighters were everywhere, disguised as ordinary people going about their daily lives. In Tokyo, Sergeant Kang Yoon-ji posed as a food delivery worker, riding her bicycle past alien patrols. Her backpack contained more than lunch orders. Inside were devices that would jam alien communications when the time came. Package delivered to the embassy, she said into her hidden microphone, stopping near the Veiltharan command post. She pretended to check her phone while actually planting a listening device on a nearby power line. 3 blocks away, engineer Nam Tae-wook worked in a coffee shop, serving drinks to alien soldiers. They treated him like he was invisible, just another defeated human. They had no idea he was recording every word they said, learning their patrol schedules and security codes. They change guard shifts every 4 hours, he reported to his hidden microphone. Security is light between 3 and 4 in the morning. They don't think we're a threat. In her laboratory beneath Geneva, Dr. Kim Hye-jin had not slept in 2 days. She worked frantically on the frequency weapon, testing different combinations of energy patterns against samples of alien shield technology. Try increasing the pulse rate, suggested her assistant, Dr. Oh Sang-woo. He was young but brilliant, the man who had helped design humanity's quantum drive engines. Kim adjusted the settings and fired another test beam. This time the alien shield sample flickered and died. "That's it," she shouted, then remembered to keep her voice down. The aliens thought this was just a research facility studying weather patterns. "We found their frequency. 23.7 terahertz pulsed every 0.3 seconds. She immediately sent the data to the hidden fleet. Within minutes, every human ship in the outer system was updating their weapons with the new settings. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Yoon So-ra was having the most dangerous job of all. She flew her stealth fighter through the asteroid belt, placing quantum mines along the routes the alien ships would use if they tried to escape. Her fighter was invisible and silent, but space was full of debris. One wrong move, one piece of rock hitting her hull, and she would show up on enemy sensors. "Mine number 47 placed," she reported as she attached another explosive device to a large asteroid. "The exit routes are covered." "Copy that, Ghost 7, came Admiral Lee's voice from the command ship. "How long until the field is complete?" 18 hours, sir. Maybe 16 if I skip the safety checks. "Take your time, Lieutenant. We need this done right." Back on the handbit, Captain Park had seen enough. The alien fleet was spread out over a wide area, their ships positioned to intimidate rather than defend. It was exactly what the humans had hoped for. "Send the data to fleet. Command," she ordered. "All ships, all weaknesses, all patrol patterns." "Message sent," confirmed her communications officer. "Admiral Lee confirms receipt." As the handbit turned to leave, something unexpected happened. Alien scouts appeared on their sensors, moving toward the outer system. "They're checking the asteroid belt," Shin reported. 6 ships heading directly for Mining Station 7. Ji-won felt her heart race. Mining Station 7 was actually Battle Platform 7, hiding behind a fake mining facility. If the aliens discovered it, the whole plan would fall apart. "Get me Commander Bay," she ordered. Commander Bay Soo-jin's voice came through the speakers seconds later. "I see them coming, Ji-won. Don't worry. We're ready." In the asteroid belt, the alien scouts approached what looked like a simple mining operation. They saw cargo ships, drilling equipment, and workers in spacesuits. Everything looked normal and harmless. What they didn't see were the weapon batteries hidden inside the asteroids, or the destroyers waiting in the shadows, or the fact that those miners were actually elite naval personnel. "Unknown vessels, identify yourselves," called the lead alien scout. "This is Mining Station 7, replied Commander Bay, disguising her voice to sound like a frightened civilian. "We're just extracting metals from the asteroids. Please don't hurt us." "You will submit to inspection," the alien commanded. Of course, Bay said. "We'll shut down all operations. Please be patient with us. We're very scared." The alien ships moved closer, their crews laughing at human cowardice. They prepared to board the mining station, expecting to find cowering workers and primitive tools. Instead, they found plasma cannons and magnetic mines. The mining station opened fire with weapons that cut through alien hulls like paper. The scout ships exploded before they could send a warning signal. "Targets eliminated," Bay reported. "No survivors, no communications sent. The aliens still think we're just miners." Back on Earth, the surrender ceremony was scheduled for the next morning. President Chen would hand over the planet's defense codes to Supreme Commander Vexithal. The aliens would celebrate their victory. But in the hidden depths of space, the Ghost Fleet was moving into position. 300 ships invisible to alien sensors, carrying weapons the enemy had never imagined. Each ship was crewed by volunteers who had trained for this moment their entire lives. Admiral Lee stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical display show friendly contacts approaching Earth. Soon, very soon, the Valtharans would learn that humans were much more dangerous than they appeared. "All ships report ready, Admiral," Captain Park announced. "The trap is set." Lee nodded. In less than 24 hours, the sky would burn with the light of human revenge. Supreme Commander Vexthal stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at the blue planet below. In 2 hours, the humans would officially surrender. In 3 hours, his fleet would begin the bombardment that would break any remaining resistance. It would be another easy victory for the Veltharan Empire. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "the human delegation is preparing for the ceremony. Their leaders look appropriately defeated." Vexthal's 4 eyes blinked with satisfaction. Of course they do. Primitive species always break quickly when faced with real power. He turned to address his bridge crew. After the surrender, we begin systematic bombardment of their military facilities. I want every human weapon destroyed within 6 hours. Then we start the selection process for slaves. On Earth, President Chen put on his formal suit and straightened his tie. In 30 minutes, he would stand before the cameras and hand over humanity's freedom. At least that's what it would look like. His phone buzzed with a text message. The miners are ready to start the night shift. Chen smiled. It was time. In the asteroid belt, Admiral Lee walked through the corridors of his flagship, the Taeguk. The ship was enormous, larger than any vessel Earth had officially built. Its hull was covered with stealth plating that made it invisible to alien sensors. Its weapons could punch through a moon. Fleet status? He asked Captain Park Ji-won as he entered the bridge. All ships in position, sir, she reported. 300 vessels ready for combat. The enemy has no idea we exist. Lee looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were arranged in a perfect formation around Earth, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. They looked beautiful and terrible at the same time. Dr. Kim, are the frequency weapons ready? Dr. Kim Hye-jin's voice came through the speakers, from the science lab. All ships have been equipped with shield breaker technology. The aliens' defenses will collapse on the first hit. Lieutenant Yoon, mining status? From her stealth fighter, Lieutenant Yoon Sora reported, all escape routes are mined, sir. If they try to run, they'll fly right into the explosions. Lee nodded. Engineer Nam, how are our friends on the surface? Nam Tae-wook spoke from his position inside the alien perimeter on Earth. Jamming devices are in place. When we activate them, the enemy won't be able to communicate with each other. Excellent. Lee turned to his communications officer. Open, a channel to all ships. It's time to address the fleet. Throughout the hidden armada, human crews stopped what they were doing and listened to their admiral's voice. Soldiers of Earth, Lee began. For 50 years we have prepared for this day. We have built ships in secret. We have trained in darkness. We have waited while other worlds fell to these invaders. He paused, looking out at the stars. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens our home. Today we prove that humans are not prey. We are predators, and we have been hunting these aliens since the moment they entered our system. On the surface, the surrender ceremony was about to begin. President Chen walked onto the stage, his face a mask of defeat. The alien commander waited for him, surrounded by guards and cameras. People of Earth, Chen said into the microphone, we have no choice but to accept the reality of our situation. We cannot fight the Vailtharan Empire. We must surrender. In me, orbit, the alien crews cheered. Another world had fallen without a real fight. But in the shadows between planets, something was stirring. Space itself seemed to shimmer and bend as hundreds of invisible ships moved into attack position. Commander Bae Soo-jin watched her instruments as her destroyer squadron approached the alien rear guard. Her ships looked like empty space to enemy sensors, but they carried enough firepower to level a city. Target locked, reported her weapons officer. Hold position, Bae ordered. Wait for the signal. On Earth, President Chen reached the moment everyone was waiting for. He held up a datapad containing Earth's defense codes and surrender documents. With this signature, he said, I place Earth under the protection of the Vailtharan Empire. He signed the document and handed it to Supreme Commander Vexthal. The alien took it with obvious pleasure. You have chosen wisely, human. Your species will serve the Empire well. Chen looked up at him. Actually, I have a message for you from the people of Earth. Vexthal tilted his head. What message? Chen smiled for the first time in 3 days. Go to hell. At that exact moment, Admiral Lee spoke 2 words into his communicator. Ghost Fleet. Everything changed at once. In space around Earth, the emptiness suddenly filled with light. 300 human warships materialized from nowhere, their stealth systems shutting down to reveal the massive fleet that had been hiding in the shadows. On Earth, every jamming device activated simultaneously. Alien communications went dead. Their sensors flickered and died. Their coordination disappeared in an instant of electronic chaos. In the asteroid belt, the quantum mines armed themselves, ready to destroy any ship that tried to escape through the outer system. Supreme Commander Vexthal stared at the tactical display on his bridge as hundreds of red contacts appeared around his fleet. "Where did they come from?" he shouted at his officers. "Unknown, sir. They weren't there a moment ago. How is that possible?" On the Taguk, Admiral Lee sat in his command chair and spoke calmly into his microphone. "All ships, this is Admiral Lee. You are cleared to engage. Show these aliens what humans do to bullies." Captain Park looked up at him. "Sir, should we offer them a chance to surrender?" Lee thought about all the worlds the Valtherans had destroyed, all the species they had enslaved, all the children they had killed. "No," he said. "They had their chance to leave in peace. Fire at will." The first salvo from the Ghost Fleet lit up the sky like a second sun. Plasma beams and quantum torpedoes streaked through space, carrying 50 years of human anger and determination. "Doctor, Kim's frequency weapons hit the alien shields first, causing them to flicker and collapse. Then the main weapons found their targets. The largest Valtharan ship, the one that had been preparing to bombard New York, suddenly found itself facing the combined firepower of 20 human cruisers. Its hull, designed to intimidate primitive species, cracked and exploded under weapons it had never been built to withstand. "Direct hit on the command ship," reported Captain Park. "It's breaking apart." All around Earth, the same scene played out dozens of times. Alien ships that had seemed invincible moments before were now burning and exploding under the precise fire of the Ghost Fleet. Supreme Commander Vexthal tried to give orders, but his communications were jammed. He tried to coordinate his fleet, but his sensors were blind. He tried to fight back, but human ships moved faster than anything he had ever seen. "All ships, retreat!" he finally screamed into his communicator, hoping someone could hear him. "Fall back to the outer system." But when the surviving alien ships turned to run, they found Lieutenant Yoon's quantum mines waiting for them. The explosions lit up the asteroid belt like a string of fireworks. The trap was perfect. The aliens were surrounded, blinded, and outgunned. The species they had thought was helpless had just revealed the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. And the battle was just beginning. Space around Earth became a battlefield unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Ghost Fleet struck with precision and fury, their weapons tearing through alien ships that had seemed invincible just minutes before. Captain Park Ji-won stood at her tactical station aboard the Taguk, coordinating the fleet's assault. "Second Squadron, focus fire on the battleship at Grid 77. Third Squadron, protect the destroyers while they make their attack run." On her screens, she watched human ships move like deadly dancers through the chaos. Each vessel knew exactly where to be and when to fire. This was the result of 50 years of planning and training. "The alien flagship is trying to escape," reported her sensor officer. "Not today," Park said. She turned to Admiral Lee. "Sir, requesting permission to pursue." Lee nodded. "Take us after them. Show them there's nowhere to run." The Taguk, humanity's most powerful warship, turned toward the fleeing alien command vessel. Its engines flared with blue fire as it accelerated to incredible speed. Meanwhile, Commander Bae Soo-jin led her destroyer squadron in a devastating attack on the alien rearguard. Her ships were smaller than the enemy vessels, but they were faster and smarter. "Ghost 4, hit them on the left flank," she ordered, "and Ghost 6, target their engines. Ghost 9, watch for that cruiser trying to get behind us." Her destroyers spread out like a pack of wolves surrounding their prey. The aliens tried to fight back, but their heavy weapons couldn't track the swift human ships. "Direct hit on the alien cruiser," reported Ghost 4's captain. "Their engines are dead." "Good shooting," Bae replied. "Move to the next target." On the far side of the battle, Lieutenant Yoon Sora flew her stealth fighter through the wreckage of destroyed alien ships. Her mission was to hunt down any vessel trying to escape through the outer system. "Ghost 7 to Fleet Command," she called. "I have 3 alien ships trying to reach the asteroid belt." "Understood, Ghost 7, came Admiral Lee's voice. "You are cleared to engage." Yoon's fighter was tiny compared to the alien ships, but it carried weapons that could punch through their hulls like paper. She lined up behind the first enemy vessel and fired. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the darkness. The other two ships tried to run, but Yoon was faster. 2 more targets destroyed, she reported. The exit routes are secure. Back. On Earth, Sergeant Kang Yoon-ji and her Special Forces team had a different mission. While the space battle raged above, they were fighting the aliens who had landed on the planet. "Move up," she whispered to her squad as they crept through the ruins of what had been the alien command post in Seoul. Her team had destroyed the alien communications array with explosives, cutting off the ground forces from their ships. The aliens were tough fighters, but they were confused and scared. They had expected to rule Earth by tomorrow. Instead, they were trapped on a hostile planet, while their fleet burned in space above them. "Contact front," called one of her soldiers. 3 alien warriors appeared around a corner, their energy weapons blazing. Kang and her team took cover and returned fire. Human weapons had been designed specifically to penetrate alien armor. The enemy soldiers fell within seconds. "Area secure," Kang reported, moving to the next objective. In space, the battle was reaching its climax. Admiral Lee watched as the alien flagship tried desperately to escape. It was a massive ship 3 times the size of the Taeguk, but it was slow and damaged. "Bring us alongside," he ordered. "Sir?" asked Captain Park. "That's dangerous. They still have weapons." "So do we," Lee said calmly, "and ours work better." The Taeguk matched course with the alien flagship, flying so close that the 2 ships almost touched. At point-blank range, the human ship's weapons could not miss. "Fire all batteries," Lee commanded. The Taeguk's plasma cannons erupted with brilliant light. The alien ship's hull cracked and split, atmosphere and debris spilling out into the void. Inside the dying alien flagship, Supreme Commander Vexthal stumbled through corridors filled with smoke and sparks. His ship was falling apart around him, and his crew was in panic. "Sir," shouted his communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet." "Put it through," Vexthal ordered, though he dreaded what he might hear. Admiral Lee's face appeared on the screen, calm and professional despite the battle raging around his ship. "Supreme Commander Vexthal," Lee said, "this is Admiral Lee Dong-soo of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet is destroyed. Your ground forces are defeated. Surrender now, and we will allow you to live." Vexthal's 4 eyes blazed with fury. "Never! The Valtheran Empire does not surrender to primitives." Lee's expression didn't change. "Then you will die with your ship." The transmission ended. Moments later, the Taeguk fired again, and the alien flagship broke in half. Across the battlefield, the same scene was repeated dozens of times. Alien ships that refused to surrender were destroyed. Those that did surrender were boarded by human Marines led by Colonel Hwang Mi-young. "Boarding party to alien cruiser successful," Hwang reported from inside an enemy vessel. "We have control of their bridge and engine room." "Any resistance?" asked Admiral Lee. "Some, but nothing we couldn't handle. These aliens are good at bullying helpless planets, but they're not soldiers." Lieutenant Commander Shin Dong-wook, piloting a heavy cruiser called the Mugunghwa, found himself facing the largest alien ship still fighting. It was a massive battleship that had been heading for the bombardment of Tokyo. "This is Mugunghwa. To Fleet Command," he called. "I have the big one, requesting backup." "Negative, Mugunghwa," came Admiral Lee's reply. "All other ships are engaged. You're on your own." Shin smiled grimly. "Copy that, sir. 1-on-1 it is." The alien battleship fired its main guns, sending beams of energy that could melt mountains. But Shin was ready for them. The Mugunghwa twisted and rolled, dodging the attacks while closing the distance. "Come on," he muttered to his ship. "Let's show them how humans dance." The Mugunghwa flew straight at the alien battleship, all weapons firing. It was a desperate attack that should have been suicide. But the human ship's shields held, and its weapons found their mark. The alien battleship's reactor went critical, exploding in a flash of light that could be seen from Earth's surface. As the battle wound down, Captain Park looked at her tactical display. Of the 50 alien ships that had threatened Earth, 47 were destroyed. 3 had surrendered and were now under human control. Fleet status? Admiral Lee asked. All ships reporting minimal damage, Park replied. No vessels lost. Casualties are light, Lee nodded. It had been a perfect victory. The aliens had underestimated humanity, and they had paid the ultimate price. On Earth, President Chen stood in the ruins of the alien command post, watching as human soldiers escorted captured aliens to prison ships. The surrender ceremony platform was destroyed, and the alien flag had been replaced with Earth's banner. Sir, said one of his aides, we're receiving messages from across the galaxy. Other species want to know what happened here. Chen looked up at the sky, where the lights of burning alien ships were still visible. Tell them the truth, he said. Tell them that Earth is not for sale, and tell them that humanity is ready to take our place among the stars. The battle for Earth was over, but for humanity, the real adventure was just beginning. 3 days after the battle, Admiral Lee stood in the communications center of the Teguk, preparing to address the galaxy. Around Earth, the wreckage of the Veltharan fleet slowly fell through the atmosphere, burning up in bright streaks of light that reminded everyone of humanity's victory. Are we ready? Lee asked Captain Park Ji-won. Yes, sir, she replied. The quantum transmitter is connected to every communication network in known space. Everyone will hear this message. Lee straightened his uniform and walked to the transmission platform. In a few minutes, every intelligent species in the galaxy would learn that the humans they had ignored or dismissed were now a force that could not be ignored. The transmission began, and Lee's image appeared on screens across 100 worlds. People of the galaxy, he said, his voice calm and strong. I am Admiral Lee Dong-soo of the Earth Defense Force. 3 days ago, the Veltharan Empire attempted to conquer our world. They believed we were weak and helpless. They were wrong. On Diu, distant planet's alien leaders leaned forward in their chairs, watching this human who had done the impossible. For 50 years, Lee continued, while the Veltharans conquered world after world, humanity prepared. We built ships in secret. We developed new technologies. We trained our people for the day when we would face the empire that thought it could rule the galaxy. He paused, letting his words sink in. That day came 3 days ago. The Veltharan fleet that arrived at Earth was completely destroyed. Of their 50 ships, 47 were eliminated and 3 surrendered. Not a single human vessel was lost. In the captured alien ships, the surviving Veltharan officers watched in shock. Supreme Commander Vexthal was dead, killed when his flagship exploded. The empire that had seemed unstoppable had been crushed in a single battle. Earth extends its hand in friendship to all peaceful species, Lee went on. But to those who would threaten innocent worlds, we offer this warning. Leave the helpless alone or face the consequences. The transmission ended, but its effects spread across the galaxy like ripples in a pond. On worlds that had been conquered by the Veltharans, people looked up at the sky with hope for the first time in decades. Dr. Kim Hye-jin walked through the captured alien technology aboard one of the surrendered ships. Now that the battle was over, she could study their equipment properly. Remarkable, she said to her assistant, Dr. Oh Sang-woo. Their weapons are powerful but inefficient. They use 3 times more energy than they need to. What about their engines? Oh asked. Slow and predictable, Kim replied. Our quantum drives are much faster. No wonder we could outrun them so easily. In another part of the ship, engineer Nam Tai-wook was examining the alien computer systems. He had spent the war disguised as a coffee shop worker, but now he was back to his real job of understanding alien technology. They have some interesting ideas, he told his team, but their computers are hundreds of years behind ours. They never developed quantum processing. The more the humans studied their former enemies, the more they realized how the Veltharans had succeeded for so long. They had conquered weak, divided worlds that had never prepared for war. But when they faced a species that had spent 50 years getting ready, they had no chance. On Earth, Ambassador Jang Hee-sun was having the busiest week of her career. Her office was flooded with messages from alien governments wanting to establish relations with humanity. The Zephyrian Republic wants to sign a trade agreement, her assistant reported. The Catherian Alliance is asking for military assistance against Valtheran raiders, and the Centauri Federation wants to know if we're interested in joining their alliance. Jang smiled. A week ago, most of these species had never heard of humans. Now they all wanted to be humanity's friend. Professor An Jong-soo sat in his office at Seoul University, writing the first official history of the war. Future generations would want to know how humanity had hidden an entire fleet from the most powerful empire in the galaxy. It wasn't just about the ships, he wrote. It was about the will to prepare, even when preparation seemed hopeless. It was about the patience to wait 50 years for the right moment. Most of all, it was about the determination never to surrender, no matter how hopeless things looked. In the outer system, construction crews were already at work building humanity's first interstellar base. The asteroid belt, which had hidden the Ghost Fleet for so long, would become the launching point for human exploration of the galaxy. Captain Moon Hae-won commanded one of the new exploration ships being built in the hidden shipyards. Her mission would be to map the systems formerly controlled by the Valtherans and make contact with the species they had oppressed. "We're not going as conquerors," she told her crew during their first briefing. "We're going as liberators and friends, but we're also going armed in case we meet anyone who doesn't understand the difference." Lieutenant Yoon Sora had been promoted to squadron commander and given a new mission: training the next generation of human pilots. The war had shown that space combat was different from anything humans had practiced before. "Speed is life," she told her students. "The aliens had bigger ships and more weapons, but we were faster and smarter. Remember that, and you'll come home alive." Sergeant Kang Yoon-ji was now Colonel Kang, in charge of training special forces for planetary operations. The fight on Earth had proven that ground combat would be just as important as space battles. In future conflicts, the enemy will always underestimate humans, she explained to her trainees. That's their weakness and our strength. Use it. In the weeks that followed, more alien governments made contact with Earth. Some wanted alliances, others wanted trade agreements. A few wanted to hire human mercenaries to protect them from other threats. But the most important message came from the former slaves of the Valtheran Empire. Dozens of species that had been conquered and oppressed for generations sent the same message. "Thank you for showing us that the Empire could be defeated. Thank you for giving us hope." 6 months after the battle, Admiral Lee stood on the bridge of the new flagship Hangul as it prepared for humanity's first major exploration mission. The ship was even larger than the Taeguk, equipped with the most advanced technology Earth could build. "Course plotted for the Vega system, sir," reported the navigation officer. "Very good," Lee said. He turned to Captain Park, who had been promoted, to his second-in-command. "What do our intelligence reports say about that region?" "3 systems with intelligent life," Park replied. "All former Valtheran colonies. They've been sending messages asking for our help in rebuilding their civilizations." Lee nodded. "Then that's where we'll start." As the Hangul entered quantum drive and disappeared from Earth's solar system, Lee thought about how much had changed. A year ago, humanity had been alone in the galaxy, hiding and preparing for a war that might never come. Now they were the protectors of dozens of worlds and the leaders of a new alliance of free species. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but humans were no longer afraid. They had learned the most important lesson of all, that the strongest weapon in the universe was not a plasma cannon or a quantum torpedo. It was the determination, never, to give up no matter how hopeless things seemed. On distant worlds, other empires watched the rise of humanity with fear and respect. The species that had seemed so weak and primitive had revealed themselves to be the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. But to the innocent and oppressed, humanity offered something different: hope. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. In his final log entry of the mission, Admiral Lee wrote, "The Valtherans waited for Earth to yield. Instead, they got humanity unleashed. May God help anyone who makes the same mistake." The stars ahead were bright with possibility, and humanity was ready to claim its destiny among them.